Along with that, we have the Tuesday launch for the Department of Defense's Space Orbital Reconnaissance Service. This stuff is going on. We go back to the times of Chandra as they started to detect these electromagnetic fields, and we can watch from that moment as they start to get bigger and bigger revelations of Nemesis. Let's go to Ed.
Hey, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, look, I got a little numerology for you might be interested in. If you take the year you were born, I was born in 1959, so I'm going to use 59, and you add it to whatever age you're going to be on your birthday this year. I'll be 52. And you add it together, you'll get 111. So, and everybody on the planet is going to have the same thing. Whatever year you were born, and add it to whatever age you'll be on your birthday this year, and you'll get 111. Now, also, if you were born after 2000, then you're going to be an 11, simply an 11. All children born since 2000 are going to be simply 11s, okay?
Sure.
So, you can make of that what you will, but I think, in my personal opinion, I think this year everyone's going to find out if you're either a 1 or an 11. And you can put every emphasis on 1 and 11 if you want to, but everybody's going to find out their fate this year. So that's just all I wanted to say, Freeman. Thanks for taking my call, buddy. Have a good night.
Most intriguing. Yes, and the 11 going back to the goddess symbolism, the duality, and how all of that is equated to Satan within the esoteric realms, the idea of the separation of an entity from God, the separation, the 11 being a sign of this, Jachin and Boaz of Freemasonry being a sign of this, and of course 9/11 being the ritual that involved all of that. And of course with Elenin, that's where I was looking at, you could also get kind of an 11 out of Elenin, or ELE, and then 9, and so you kind of get an 11-9 out of Elenin as well, or as I see it backwards, L9. Well, that is very curious indeed as we move into our Type 1 civilization. I've decided, I guess, thanks to Lobo, that I am a Type 1 artist, and I think I'll add that to my bio. Hey, I don't have a name, but you're live on the Free Zone. What's on your mind?
What up, Freeman? It's Bob Tuscan. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Bob. Great to hear from you. Sorry I've been in a hole. I got way too many friends, man.
Yeah, I know, you're too cool. But we'll have you back on eventually, and at least we keep it in the family here on Oracle. But, Freeman, did you see the photos of, who was it, Rihanna and Britney Spears, just like the Madonna and Britney Spears kiss a while back with the black and white?
No, I missed that.
They just did it. I guess they did. I just saw the photo, I should say. I don't know.
She does that abduction song. Am I correct on this? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I try to keep my pop culture straight, but that's what I use Jamie for. But I believe
I saw it, and I was thinking, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just believe that she has that song about DNA and being abducted and how her DNA is getting shifted and all of this. I believe that's Rihanna. But you've heard this song about being abducted by aliens? It's the latest in pop culture?
I know she's got that song with Jay-Z that Chris Gio did a remix of with all sorts of Illuminati symbols in the video and whatnot. But I didn't hear about that song. What I saw was a photo of her in some, high-profile music award, dressed in black, and I think it was Britney Spears in white. And I was trying to remember because it was so long ago when I heard you spoke about this. But what does that represent exactly? The dark and the light coming together in these? Because you remember, who was it, Madonna that did it with one of these singers a while back?
Yeah, absolutely. Madonna came down in her worshipful master's top hat, coming down a cake of 13 steps. And 13 being the number of the goddess. And then this black and white symbolism, once again, is Jachin and Boaz, as you typically see the two columns of Freemasonry, one depicted white, one black, in the threshing floor type depictions. Or you go to the checkerboard floor, and we get to the idea of there is no good or bad, just control. And this absolutely wraps up in Luciferian symbolism, which of course goes back to Venus and why we're ending up with Britney and Rihanna.
Somebody just put the picture in the chat room for me. I appreciate that. Yeah, and you know, this is just, you know, right in front of everyone's face. This is high-profile, ritualistic stuff.
No doubt. I mean, they're even dressed in you know, this Bond wear. What do you call that? Sadomasochist wear, and they're chained to one another while doing this. So.
Yep, exactly. I noticed that. That's creepy stuff. Hey, Freeman, always great to talk to you, buddy.
Yeah, I hope to talk to you really soon, Bob. I'm really glad you called.
And you got to get Mark on your show. You got to get Mark Passio.
Yeah, I got a whole new gig working up, so I will be doing that. And I'm going to get you all hooked up at Friends of Freeman.
All right, sounds good, man.
Awesome. I'll let you know what's up.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Bob. If you guys haven't checked this out, the Free Your Mind Conference, I'm sure many of you, but there might be some new listeners out there. Go over to youtube.com/FreemanTV and check out my playlists. And there I have the Free Your Mind Conference, the entire thing, from Bob Tuscan and Mark Passio. And it was an amazing conference, a mind-bending conference. And, you know, you end up having lunch and dinner with a time traveler, a human-dolphin hybrid, and a head of exopolitics who believes aliens rule the country. Yeah, you're going to have an interesting little discussion going on. So, yeah, check that out over at YouTubeFreemanTV.com. Realize that I have a bunch of stuff on the YouTube page that is not actually listed on FreemanTV.com. Because a lot of people make the shows they do with me into videos, and then they just get playlisted. So check the playlists and check the uploads, because I upload all my own stuff, and then I playlist all the works that I have. You can listen to every Deagle show I've ever done on YouTube/Freeman TV. Be right back.
And push the 4-year-old down onto the closet floor.
Humanist Agenda, my latest work, 5 hours long. Getting deep into the program, the upcoming program of ET invasion. Curious note that it seems that Kazakhstan, where Astana is, and if you haven't seen my Illuminati Occult Secrets film, go over to FreemanTV.com and click on Freeman's TV shows. And have a look at that. It'll also be presented in the new TV show if you become a subscriber. ET and the Transhumanist Agenda is showing us this new form of fear that will be broadcast to us, and it is in the form of UFO invasion. And curious enough, Kazakhstan seems to be the hot spot of the current UFO flap. Now, when you look at Astana from space and you have a look at this esoteric structure of the city, you'll see this lost symbol of Ra, and you will have a look at that. You will see that it is identical to the symbolism hidden within the Georgia or the Bicentennial Mall in Nashville, which is designed to be a seal of Solomon to bind spirits. Now, as these 21st century capitals come into full growth, and they are all turning extraterrestrial, each one launching into space, we have a huge influx of UFOs into their region. Curious. Now, when I was just recently, today, was on with Inception Radio with the Future Theater, one little part of the story that I never really got to, and I saw in the chat somebody saying it's us against the Greys, I wanted to toss in my 2 cents on this ET conundrum. Because as we look to our ancient past, we find the tales of Zecharia Sitchin telling us of these beings who were like man that brought a race of beings with them to mine planet Earth. It was the revolt of these extra beings that they brought that resulted in the creation of the Lulu, which you'll find written on many of the fezzes inside of a Shriner Lodge. Lulu was the black-headed ones, us. Only they weren't us as we are today. They were us as hybrid mules that were unable to procreate. Eventually they grew the Adama, or the Adamu, and he became mankind as we know it today. Man and women able to reproduce. Kind of like the story of Adam and Eve as they tell them to go out and be fruitful, and then you realize that God had already created mankind before that. In this story, we find that there was this extra race that they brought down with them, and they were called the Anunnaki. Now, eventually, within Sechen's work, he eventually calls all the gods Anunnaki as a whole, those that came down to Earth. And but in his first book, he lists the Anunnaki as a race that the Elohim brought to planet Earth. And these Anunnaki, if they were crafted by a genetically crafting race, we are soon to become, then they would have developed these beings as ants, because they had come here to mine. So when we're looking at the Greys, we could very well be looking at this Anunnaki line, the genetically crafted ant people, as the Hopi had called them, the Anasazi. Now, the Hopi tie into this story with the blue Kachina very well, because actually Sirius will redshift at times and blue shift, depending on we're moving away or towards it. And it's possible that our binary sun would do the same. And the blue star Kachina could very much be a binary star symbolism as well. So we have the Anasazi or the Anunnaki, are these ant beings that are living inside of the earth. They're subterranean, and they have anti-gravity technology. As you see, even in biblical lore, they say Satan was cast into the earth and was the Lord of the skies. So now you have subterranean beings with high technology who have isolated themselves from their masters and continued on with an agenda of their own. Now, if perhaps Planet X is returning, or the Elohim and Nibiru return, this would be a grand time for the Anunnaki's final revolt. So to explain the abductions and the potential of cross-hybrids of alien, ETs, and human, we get to the potential of them attempting to be on the surface at this particular time in history, so that they cross with the humans so that they can exist on the surface. This, to me, makes a whole lot more sense from the historical perspective and also from the idea of crashing flying saucers.